Started on your, there's an ordinance for the golf carts.
Well, I gotta get this stuff for change, but okay, so the state doesn't actually have it. So it's- I believe it's the- So, that's not the issue that I.
Well.
I don't know what's like bars. So it's.
There's a couple there. Yeah, okay, they're just a couple of kids.
Call it in order.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first on our agenda is the public hearing for the location of a public alley place.
Yeah, I filed a petition for the vacation of a right of way. I noticed the people that the clerk told me to notice. And I noticed all of them. I want you guys noted that there's 5 people here that were noticed of it. And here's the receipts here. The only person that didn't get noticed was Toby, I think his last name Shishowski or something like that. He lives on 421 right across from the property. And so he refused to sign for the notice. So anyways, all these people were noticed. Donna Robbins was noticed, Gardner was noticed, Boyle was noticed, United Telephone Company was noticed, Colleen, Gwendolyn, Alva. They were noticed as well. They all live in that area. And I was wanting to vacate my parcel 148, 149 Clay Street. That section of Clay Street in between 148 and 149. And that would allow the 3 parcels that I own to be under one tax ID number. And it has a White Street address right now. But the way the White Street is laid out, it's more appropriate to go from Petro Street and then down into Clay Street. It'd make a more buildable lot and more desirable lot. You'd have more space, have a well point and septic system appropriately spaced without being too crunched out with neighbors. So it's better for planning if that could happen. So I'm asking you to vacate that portion of Clay Street in between lots 148 and 149 in St. Pierre. And then that parcels, the 3 parcels I own will be under one tax ID number, and I'll give it a Clay Street address.
Is that at the end of the street? Are you asking at the end of the street or you in the middle? You want to take the alley out, right?
Yeah, that's not the alley, it's the Clay Street. It's the unpaved Clay Street, the unimproved Clay Street.
Just to keep things formal, I'll make the motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Is there any public comment for this topic?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Please state your name, please.
Donna Boyle. What's the plan for building
Oh,
on that lot?
just to put a residential house there.
One house?
Yeah. That border there, it says 150 by 75 feet on the screen or on this one here. That's 148. That's lot 148. directly east, that's Clay Street, the unimproved Clay Street Forest, and then if you skip one lot over again, that's lot 149 merged with lot 140. So I'm asking to vacate lot or the Clay Street in between lot 148 and 149. That would just be a tiny, maybe 1/8 of an acre parcel there. And I could change the address to Clay Street. Because it has a White Street address right now, the property.
And I thought Clay Street was originally set, even though it has not been used, I thought it was originally set for infrastructure in case we have. In case we need street in there for additional use of utilities.
Where you had the mount.
Right through here, right?
Right through there, okay.
Between. How do I get it so I can, instead of zooming in, just move the map?
Pretty much just this section right here needs to be vacated, so I can create this L-shaped lot. And then I can put in a dirt path right here to get to the driveway and put the driveway here and the house here and then maybe septic here. I don't know how it's gonna be, but we can put a driveway in through here, and then Clay Street. And then this would be blocked off, so it'd be a dead end road.
Yeah. Are there utility easements going through there? Yes.
Yeah, but the utility easements
On the plan.
pursuant to the real estate law, you don't have to have a alleyway or a designated right of way to have utilities. Utilities can be
No,
thrown
correct.
about and under private property, and it doesn't affect anything. It makes, that's kind of a cop out.
I think
I would still think it had to be an easement through your property. Well, I mean, if we did that, I think you'd have.
Well, under Indiana code, there doesn't have to be a designated right of way or a public right of way or a public alleyway to have a utility easement. Utility easements only for the utility companies to use.
That's what I'm saying, though, even if we close it up, you would still have to have an easement.
Yeah, it would still be a utility. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's like, that's implied.
So I mean, you can't build or nothing on it.
There is natural gas that goes right down through there.
Yeah, there's a natural gas line that goes along White Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, but natural gas lines go along all right of ways. I mean, that's not gonna affect the gas line. It makes,
For what you're planning, it won't affect, if you're wanting to come off of Clay Street,
yeah.
but still in all, I mean, Petro Street. Clay Street is set as a street, and it was set there for the purpose of being able to put utilities through there if needed.
And potentially. Should the day ever come, you've got this street coming through here. There may be a time when you want to
Yeah,
finish extending the street.
I mean, there was a street and they were lotted like that. It's-
When this was platted back in the 1800s and they didn't have, town sewer and stuff like that. And it still doesn't have town sewer. That's why we need to make some dead end streets, to make larger spaces for septic and well point to be 50 feet apart from each other and the neighbors. I mean, to maintain an 1800s antiquated plat makes no sense, and it makes things tight, and it's not healthy to have septic and well points that close to one another.
So what specifically would you say is the benefit to the county for vacating this plat?
Just that little portion, I say that it's my right to do that because it's not being used by the public. And since I own the simple fee ground underneath the right of way, and I own both sides and it's not being used, it's my right to vacate it. That's what I'm stating. And if it was being used, and if I didn't own both sides, well then if they objected, well then I couldn't get it. But since there's no right of action on part of the people who actually own the simple fee or the fee simple land underneath the right of way. What's the problem? It's my right to use the land the way I want to.
Before you can build over there, it's easy. You might be able to build beside it and drive to it. I don't think it's gonna even end up with it being your problem. You know what I mean? You can build a house right beside you on your property. But you're not gonna be able to make that easy on it. And same with subdivision, there was easement in between a lot of the houses. And they even pay taxes.
I have a question. I'm Yvonne Gardner. We own the lot where it says 7483. This isn't updated because we have our house and everything there. Our septic is in our front yard and it's about, I don't know, how far from the street, about 20 feet.
Which lot are you talking about here?
Down below.
Oh,
Excuse me, folks. This lot right here.
okay.
And my septic is in the front here. Yeah,
Right in here somewhere?
yeah, so like if you had the street there, that'll come right to my front door. I'd be looking out the front door right down the street. But my septic is right there. Is that good? I don't know how far his septic has to be away from mine or his water field or whatever,
Okay.
but it's in the front and I'm just curious. I don't know how far they have to be apart.
They even
I
measure-
don't remember off the top of my head.
Close to your wall.
25, 30 feet from the road. I don't know how far it has to be.
You're not, your house is not 25 to 30.
No,
feet
the
from
house
road.
is not saying septic.
That's
Yeah.
correct. And the road is actually, it still should be, as it was before, any of the town roads were still set at 60 feet. Even though they shrunk over the years, they were all still set up as a 60-foot road. So, I mean, that's small, it's probably 25 foot, I don't know. You can barely get two cars down it now on White Street. But I mean, if it actually
Barely.
went back to the way that it's supposed to be, it would still be 60 foot.
Yeah, because it's a 1-lane road.
And I contend, like I said, that's Clay Street, that's still another street, even though it hasn't been used. It's still another accessible road in case we need it in the future.
That area's got some high ground in it in the back, and then it's kind of swelled out and it's low. That one parcel onto itself is really low. You know, if you could build out there, you'd have to get heavy equipment to move some dirt around, to level it off. And it's kind of swampy back there anyways. I was just kind of curious, when's that town gonna get a sewer plant and get a water management?
You don't want to go there.
No, shouldn't,
Don't touch that.
shouldn't there be like a long range investment fund for that, the county and the township can put together?
Well, do you live in town? No, correct. Then, you know,
a whole meeting on it.
but I think you said you wanted to close that access to White Street. Completely, right?
It's not being used, it's all.
I
woods.
know, I live there, but so you're saying if you come down Clay, that opening there would be closed, because that would be your yard. right?
Yeah, it would be a dead end street, Clay Street would end up in a dead end street.
But it would end up north of that square.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Still tore it down. Still have to use it to access the property.
no, it's gonna close it. It's gonna close it. Once you close that. access.
Yeah, still going to tore it.
Is there any other public comment?
Motion to close it.
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
All in favor?
the screen sharing here.
Make a motion to leave it as it is, if the leave it put in for a reason, for the utility or whatever, like they even build beside it, they won't do a driveway. So for the neighbors. They're doing.
Second.
All in favor?
What happened?
Leave it as is,
Leave it as is, okay.
he can build on his lot and still use it.
All right, we have the EMS department up next. Let's see what it is.
Got for us. August is their only month. One time. And they have had some problems in their software, so,
What's the nature of the problems?
well, one of them is they can't check the divinity of some of the statuses that they put in. And it's not just our company, it's other companies.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get that glitch fixed.
Okay.
And this, we didn't have unforeseen things happen in August, so there was another company who did 3 days of their own.
Right.
Their PDF file is back, anyways, not just.
Great.
So it's their uploads and downloads. We're not having. So we have tentative meetings with AccuNet coming up this month. All with me, if somebody wants to go, if you don't. I will let you know. So
Okay.
this is something.
As long as the actual meeting isn't on a Tuesday or Thursday. Good luck. Occupied those days through the rest of the year.
We have a check from Jonathan O'Hara, $245.17. Merchants of Medical, $1,061.74.
All right. This is our report in September for the month of August. Operations, we're back right now running 3 out of 4 ambulances. All 3 at ALS levels. Staffing permits. August 5th, as everybody knows, we went to 2 ambulances that we own. One of them was donated by Woody. We had it up until September 15th. For BLS transfer, they were suspended. That's one thing because we had no staffing. People who helped out, as Nancy said, at 3 days from August 5th, that afternoon up until August.
Yeah.
We had certain covered by. So very grateful and gracious to them. Currently, we're still at a minimum of 1 ALS staff member at all times scheduled at medic training. This month, we did have 38% as 2 and 6% as 3 medics at all bases. An increase. We have always had 100% at Knox base. As always, non-transports running 24/7. Transfers, like I said, have been suspended at this time for the month of August. Personnel, we have no full-time openings for the agencies. We do have 4 current full-time paramedics, 5 full-time openings. We also have 2 paramedics in the application process, which one was just hired as part-time this morning. Training. AccuMed did come in and do our training. They didn't clear anything up. They weren't taking any questions. But they did say where we were lacking in our documentation. When asked them why we were lacking in documentation, that's when the PDF files, well, we're not getting signatures. This is 3 signatures that you're asking for, right here. Oh, they're not transferring into our system. October 5th, we're doing an EVOC class for EMS.
EVOC is.
Emergency Vehicle Operations course. I just received, which didn't go on here. We do have 3 test GPS locators and video cameras going in. First one's going in the chase car. And I'm gonna pick two that would move. Medic three's gonna get one that one, they're all over the place. And probably medic five. So that's a plus. Safety. August 5th, we had the EMT fail in line of duty. And one paramedic was still off with no determined release date. But the last injury before that was 4/7/23. Ambulance maintenance. Everything. Medic one's up to date. And in service. 4925 and 4926 have been added to this list. As well as 4230 has been removed. That is the one that we got rolled. 4926 is delivered, it's sitting at, right now it's sitting at silent speed shop, getting the report taken off and start over top of it. We're not changing anything other than put new numbers on it and start counting EMS on top. And it should be in service hopefully by the end of next week. 4925, which is the brand new one, the 2024. Will be here probably the 18th.
It's today.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's supposed to be good every day.
Hoping that's what, yeah, that was the proposed date. Remember, all the paperwork will be here tomorrow. Get the title and certificate and everything else. 514 is still out of service. It came back in service and went back out in the low power mode. 85 is back. It is in service as Medic 5. 84 is back. The other two diesels. And they're running great. Exactly, a little bit harder. Lutheran's loaner went back on September 15th. 4230, like I said, was removed from the list as a total loss. In the bases, I need to get 2 outside outlets installed at all the bases were sparing us plugged in. The new door entry systems are in process. We have one door already installed, which is a storage room door. Grants. Discussing with the opioid abatement committee for a new power load system for 2 ambulances, 84 and 514. Northern Indiana Community Foundation gave us a $20,000 grant to assist in the purchase of the ambulance and the winter gear. Remaining balance used for personal items of shirt, beds, winter clothing. No response as of September 15th, as the grant was Subaru for the Lucas CPR device. There's still no development in Senate Bill 169, which is the Indiana Commission purchasing ambulances, but they just got revamped down at the state where EMS is now its own division. It's still with everybody else. We did receive a $15,000 donation to purchase 4226, 4225, the used ambulance. It came through Northern Indiana Community Foundation as an anonymous donor. Received another $100 donation from Mike Wilcox. Right now, all the PPE for protective equipment is good. Their coats will be needed. Grants have been applied for that. The other reason I am here, I want to create a position within the positions that we have now. It's an EMS training officer, otherwise known as field training officer. Right now, it could be anybody, EMT or paramedic, just somebody to create and train, get a designated program to go, so they're always being trained with us. All their duties and responsibilities are listed. Go down them if you'd like, something for you to read. Currently, EMTs are making roughly $15 an hour. So basically, I only go from 16 to 1750 in that range, depending on experience. That will come out of the budget I already have. That won't come out of the additional budget, which will give them an additional job description, so I can guarantee that everybody's getting trained. Accurate documentation is,
Is this to convert one of your existing employees?
yeah,
I think it's a good thing. What we can do. with getting- I think it's an awesome deal with all the other questions and stuff we've had throughout the county. I think better wait for them.
We did also.
And I hate that for, you know.
Oh, no, I'll take January, that's fine, I mean, the person in thought right now is off anyway, because of what I paid. So he probably won't be back to the late October, so it's not that far off. Plus, he's been actually doing the training coordinated now. We did create, which did not go in there, which is. Knox High School has asked us to participate in every football game, middle school to varsity. We've always done varsity only. So basically, we created a special events team that can go in. Send them to the high school. They go to the high school for the football games. 2 people on field, and then the ambulance comes in and out as the ambulance never leaves there. They don't have to be blocked. The JV, which we never did before, we're doing now at the middle school. We're doing also. Same offer was made to North Judson.
I'm good for it.
That's all I have.
So the special events team will be not just football games, but any special event that requests.
Any special event they request, fair. They having a picnic at your house. If you want somebody to come out there, possibly. More public events than private
Yeah,
events,
I would say you want to,
limit the public events.
yeah.
There are also ones that were requested to go into the high school and the elementary school. This week to the kids, teacher. Safety month.
I think all the school things is good, but yeah, I'm not saying maybe hold off on public.
Right.
And you might run into needing 5 teams on a week, you know what I mean?
This is true.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Going back to this, I'd like to make a motion January 1st.
Second that.
Hour there. I had a motion and a second, all those in favor? Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Come on, guys. Thank
Thank you.
See ya. 5 years, okay.
Dan, you're up.
It's to those which are very nice.
Hi, good morning, everyone. We had a little bit of a change at the highway department. Amanda Pinterest put in her notice. So we moved Jessica White over to the office manager position since she knew half the job anyway. Seemed like a good fit. And we have a replacement for Jessica. Kim Croft will be starting next Monday as the asset manager. We're still fully staffed at 17 drivers. The 6 part-time CDL drivers, their last day is going to be this Thursday. We're going to finish up mowing with full-time employees. As road work's coming to an end, we'll have time that they can take over mowing.
Well, with that mowing crew, I mean, we gotta make sure we get the roadsides mowed, because there is a few I've seen still that were.
Yes,
You know, mowed.
yeah, we have quite a bit to get.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get all of what needs to be done before the 20. And 4 days?
No.
This week?
No, what I'm saying is. We'll finish up road work this week
Okay.
and the full-time drivers
Well,
will go on the mowers to finish up what needs to be taken care of.
all right.
We're not gonna leave anything behind.
And will they go to for snow or something?
Yeah. Yep, we'll keep rolling. The community crossing. We submitted for 23-2. Hopefully. Normally they announce that like next week. At the end of AIC, they usually announce that. So we're hoping to hear back on that. The 23-1 project has been completed. We did a total of 27.25 miles. Of that 18.25 miles were double coated chip seal. The remaining 9 miles were single chip seal. So I thought the project went well. We had 1 day of a surprise rain that caught us. So we had some oil bleed through. We went back, added more stones to it so it wouldn't track, and we rolled it back in. So that section should be good. It just a surprise storm came up on us. And got us. As far as equipment, we have a new John Deere tractor and mower that we ordered back in December. Is going to be delivered on the 29th. So we'll have a good mower to put on the roadway to finish up the year. So they're going to display that tractor at Swan Lake. They're having the street commissioners conference at Swan Lake. They're going to have that tractor on display there saying this is purchased by Stark County. And then when it's over, we pick it up. We've been talking about tandem trucks. And we've had a lot of issues with not being able to have a guaranteed price. We've had an opportunity come before us with Western Star. They have 2 build spots that have opened up. So they will guarantee the price. It's going to build within 2 weeks. And we should have delivery of 8 to 9 weeks.
Is this your source well too?
Yes.
Okay. Just make sure.
These quotes are all from source.
Okay.
So we're looking at the quotes that we had for Freightliner. This truck is $21,000 more, but the price is guaranteed. It's gonna build in 2 weeks' time. It has a bigger motor, a heavier transmission.
So it was 20,000 more per truck, right?
Correct.
Like doing our last one, that was in 2 years ago, it feel like zero, running right now, 11.
I think that's the thing Dan's looking at, it's a guaranteed.
Right.
Is it?
I would be okay.
Well,
Because the contract reads just the same.
It's the same
It's just,
contract.
it's just,
But we got the.
we got now we've got a short enough time frame that it's not a risk.
Build date. or-
It has a build date, so they can lock the price into this build date. So the price for the chassis is $146.
Mhm.
Is what they have it locked in.
When would they start that? Or did you say when they'd start the build? Well, within a few weeks, when it'd be. It's
Yeah.
always when it does.
We'll have a pickup in 8 or 9 months.
yeah, because some other ones we might not even get till.
Chances are
These like, yeah, these like,
we'll probably get these first, but
And those other ones are variable, they don't raise the price.
again, yeah.
exactly.
See anything bad in there, Justin?
Maybe it's pretty much the same as the other. One.
I felt like you Cap and Dan over and over, he's trying to get deals
Right.
done.
But it is the same contract as last time. I mean, I don't know, if they lock in the bill, the price when they say it's going to, you know, that's better. You know, if they just say, if they can give us some type of, if we sign this, and they're willing to say, once the bill date starts, we lock in a price. You know, that'd be like an after modification of this contract, because the contracts would say they'll raise the price anytime for any reason. They don't take delivery, we keep the cash deposit, and we reserve all remedies, which means. I don't know, maybe they come. in
Which
for
is
the full bag.
the part we really didn't like.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's something, if they're willing to say that, you know, once it goes to build, we lock in the price, we can no longer raise the price on it, and that's better. I just. It's. Again, I don't know, and I know all contracts are like this right now, right?
Right.
We're not gonna tie them down to saying that they'll put in the things that we requested, but, you know. Not doing my job if I don't say that's not a risk, so.
Yeah,
So what we've seen since our last meeting, I've talked with other organizations and they put in their contracts, like, if it's not delivered by set date, there's a $500 fine every month that the truck's not delivered. Nobody did them. They get 0 bids for these trucks. So you're just not gonna nail them
So-
down. Unfortunately.
so in your discussions, how much of a risk do you feel that there is for an adjustment in price if we agree to this?
There shouldn't be any, because it's gonna be built in 24. It'll be built in 2 weeks, so there should not be any pushback on these 2 trucks.
Make a motion, we go on with it, but they give us a signed paper saying it's locked in price.
Once it's being built or
Yeah,
lock that price, that's what we wanna see.
yeah, I want a purchase agreement that doesn't have this language that's causing us adjusting clause here. So I'll second Don's motion.
All in favor?
Put together. Paper in writing, adjustment approved.
Once the build starts. That price is locked.
It's gonna be paid in 9 months.
What?
Okay.
So Dan's gonna hate me. I'm sorry to do it,
Yeah.
Dan, I know.
You're pushing.
That's what we got it here for.
And let me get to hate you.
I want to say that, I worked really hard to make this deal.
Yeah,
I think it's an awesome deal,
Yeah.
but we gotta protect our.
it's just,
It's being in the right place at the right time.
yeah,
That we got this.
and. You know, if it's. The lesson I've been taught over and over. It's not written down, it doesn't exist,
Okay,
so we have to get everything, all. The deal you've worked out just has to get into writing.
the next question is, when do you want us to start paying? So option 1 on this sheet is for the first payment due when we get the truck. Option 2 is we start paying on it immediately. Then option 3 is annual payments 16 months after we get the truck,
You have enough
or
money,
we get it in 16.
Yeah, you gotta.
yeah, do you have enough money in your LRS even after you take out calcium chloride to make these payments this year?
Yes.
Would be great. Cause it's in LRS, not any of your other ones. I have a problem with right now.
It'll all be.
This is in your budget.
Yes, we can make these payments. No, you guys didn't like paying for them in advance.
You're making math.
But we're probably gonna get these before the other ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have almost 2 years of payments and on the other ones coming together.
It's in the budget.
Yeah, it's just it's just which option gives us the lowest total interest payments. Because they're compounded differently.
So option two would be closed.
Yeah.
I mean, we can set these up. Really, option two can be set up. Kind of any way you want, like you wanted to wait till January. Start paying on January, we can do that.
Well, no, if you get the money in your budget to start the payments immediately, you start the payments immediately. You just take the option G because it's winds up at the lower finance charges and whatnot, you know, interest calculations. So,
Yeah, we get that signed paper, we'll lock in bid,
yeah,
go with it.
Yeah. For option two.
so I'll make the motion to accept option 2 as proposed for financing.
Second.
Had a motion and a second, all those in favor? Aye.
That's not until we get the. Take the right, or-
Well,
I get you to purchase.
yeah,
Yep,
That you're all in a good mood.
Go for it.
Okay, as far as bridges goes. Bridge number 7 was completed on schedule and is back open to the public. Bridge 137. I have paperwork. Right here. Okay, that is for the purchase of the right of ways that we need for Bridge 137. That's over here on 300 East. South of Highway 8 coming into the industrial park. So that bridge is gonna go to levy next year. So we need to get that land right of ways.
They approve that today, Dan. You take those files and then have Jessica create a claim with all that paperwork so we can pay those out.
I have a
But
copy. Do you need this copy at all or? You have everything? I brought you a copy. So you-
I'll take it. Go ahead. You made it all up. I'll take it. It's great.
We tell you redoing that bridge like that.
Yeah, it's gonna go into construction.
But check with them to see when they actually want to pay out the right of way. Like, is it okay to pay out the right of way right now, or do you want to wait to pay out the right of way before you actually turn in the claim?
Okay.
she must have 3 different ones here. Okay, 3 different properties.
everything's in order with these.
So is there a motion to approve the right of way compensation contracts?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
With harvest season fast approaching, we're working on getting every gravel road graded going into the harvest season. We started last week grading roads and we're gonna continue to do that this week. And probably in the next. As far as regular road maintenance, we're down to 2.5 miles of chip sealing. Last week we worked on cutting low hanging branches that are hitting school buses. We'll keep working on this project. When we finish chip sealing. And I'm gonna check with Kevin and see how he's doing on Johnson's subdivision. Because as soon as he's done, we're ready to go. On training, the last 2 weeks, we haven't worked on the policies and procedures with Jessica moving over to learn Jessica's job. That was the main focus, is getting just the training. Amanda's gonna be sorely missed. But we'll get on track. As far as the solar project going, Mammoth has 45% of the panels are installed. And 50% is delivered. They're getting 8 to 10 semis a day out there. So they've had a pretty steady flow. Over in Air at Next Era, 400 South has been patched with HMA. Looks like it's holding pretty well. I was out there Friday. Town and Country put the patch in, and they're gonna be the ones responsible for grading the roads in the future. So we'll just have to keep an eye on them. We'll probably have to go out there and grade them at some point during harvest, I'm guessing. That's all I have.
All right, yeah, let us know when you get that, if you get that contract. Or.
Sales agreement, yeah.
Yep, okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Then we have community services up.
How'd the yard sale given?
It's still in process.
Okay.
Today is $2 a bag day. Oops, sorry. Excuse me. So we've had several things going on this quarter. We continue to have the joint get-togethers with North Judson and Knox for the senior centers. They're really enjoying those. Last month, we did a carnival type thing with them. They played carnival games and had walking tacos and stuff like that. They're really enjoying those get-togethers. We just finished every 3 years, we have a major audit with NDOT. And we just finished that and got our compliance letter. We hired one new driver and he should finish his training tomorrow, I believe. So that'll give us 6 drivers, which will help tremendously. Food pantry. Ooh. Since last year, since 2022, the numbers have continuously gone up. Last week I sat down and did a comparison from January to August of 2022 and January to August this year. We have 769 more people already that we have served, and the numbers continue to go up. And we do need canned soup. Energy assistance begins in November. This week, I believe they're starting to mail the applications to those who have had it last year. And by mid-October, we should have the applications that people can pick up from us. In October, we're going to have a senior information fair. And November 10th is our radiothon. And we've set a lofty goal of $20,000 this year. NIPSCO, garbage, phone, gas, everything has gone up so much. So we've got a pretty lofty goal this year, but I'm confident we can make it. We've been working real hard on our public image and trying to make people realize that we're not just there for the elderly, that we're here for everybody. We're trying to be more family and community oriented, and the fun fair was a big success. Thank you, gentlemen. I think that really did a lot to help our public image as well. We are involved with a couple other committees as well. We do sit in on the Moving Start Forward. And we do sit in on the Transformation Committee, which is meeting tomorrow regarding the homeless situation in the county. So we try to keep our finger on the pulse of the community and try to keep things moving.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. We have Northern Indiana Community Foundation, Becky Ryan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm here with our associate director, Graham Beckman Lucas. I've got some additional information for you guys that I sent beforehand, but since the last time we came and discussed this with county officials, we've been before the hospital board and received their unanimous support. And I think you received a letter from them just reflecting that favorable recommendation. There's a few different representatives, Dr. Fritz, Ted Hayes, and Marty Lucas are back there as well if you have any questions for them. And we're also joined by an ICF Executive Director, Jay Albright. So the info that I brought today, would you pass the one? Is just when we were at the last meeting, we were asked to just bring some recommendations as to what a fund like this could do. So I thought it would be important to just highlight some Stark County statistics. These are from county health rankings and roadmaps, just showing where Stark County stands as far as healthy communities go. So we're kind of in the lower range, and one of the intentions of a fund like this would be to directly address issues that the county is facing. So we just laid out some ideas related to improving access to resources and services, and then addressing mental health, recovery, and general community wellness. The other thing in your packet is just an infographic that was created during some community input sessions. I thought this was a really important thing to include, just to show that these are already priorities that Stark County community members have reflected that they're interested in seeing, efforts going towards. And then your packet also includes, in case we were just looking for any specific examples of grants that could be provided to address community health. We provided some that the Community Foundation has assisted, and this is just a snapshot. I sent an Excel sheet with even more examples, and those were also just a snapshot. That wasn't all of the grants that we've provided, but this is just to show kind of the all-encompassing nature of something that would be geared towards community health. And even though that's not the main thing that the Community Foundation does, it is something that we've been able to do well in our history the last 25 years. And then, of course, I just from the last presentation, I just wanted to include this sort of proposal that reflects type of fund that this would be, and then the proposed committee structure, since this wouldn't just be one person making a decision, it would be a group of experts from the field who kind of understand what the priorities are, driving the decisions that are made about something like this. And I'd be happy to ask or answer any questions that you have, or go over these things specifically. I understand you only have so much time, and you guys have other things to consider today too, but we're just looking to see how you feel about it, and if this is something that we can explore as an option, to move forward in a partnership to, put some monumental money towards addressing community health.
Just to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, Marty, you can help me if I'm understanding it correctly. The hospital board governs the Save the Hospital Fund.
Well,
No,
and I wouldn't
But
say
they
that.
made the recommendation that we should do this.
Right, it's a recommendation. I think, what the paperwork says essentially is that the advice certainly of the hospital board is a step towards this procedure. I think if I'm understanding everything correctly, the key votes on this are by the commissioners and the council, both of which and I'm sure, Attorney Schramm will have an opinion on this too, but I hope mine is helpful. But my understanding is that you would need a supermajority of both, and of course, a supermajority of a board of three is all three. And the supermajority on the council, I think, is 5.
Okay,
Uh,
but the hospital board is basically the one that started this process because they're asking the council and commissioners to do this, is that right?
Yeah, I can think it's fair to say that the hospital board is one of the initiators of the procedure, right?
Okay.
And it does, and the documentation does call for the participation of the hospital board, but in my opinion, as advice, not as a voting party, right?
Okay.
One question, if we decide to do this, we talk council and stuff, would you be interested in like an eighth or a quarter of it to start with, instead of putting all of her, you know what I'm saying?
I think at this point, we would be open to hearing any recommendation as far as like what the money could go towards, the full amount is not, it's not an all or nothing sort of thing. We just are wanting to see some kind of activity with that money and like in the projections that were provided before, just sort of giving you an understanding of, if that, and this is just to kind of give you some perspective, but like that 6 million full amount would have already granted out over $7 million of help in the 25 years from, you know what I mean? So that's just to give you an understanding of, but yeah, any fraction of that money would still be able to go towards these initiatives and kind of getting a jump start on establishing a committee like this too, since what's kind of laid out in the proposal is that this would require some community input sessions and just like developing a strategic plan that could help guide these things. So, any amount of money that would come out of the Save the Hospital funds to go towards something like this would just like start going towards these efforts.
And not that we don't trust you,
No,
what I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want to put it all out there.
For sure, and it's
You prove to us a show, whatever, our committee, whatever.
yeah, it's understandable. And $6 million is a lot of money, and even just a portion of it is a lot of money.
Right.
And something that we wanted to highlight too is, there's ways that we could work with that initial donation to ensure that it would be endowed, obviously, but there could be some put in spendable so that these initiatives could start going right away. And so that's something that would just be, worked out down the line. But yeah, so short answer, yes.
Right, yeah, thank you.
Why was that created in the first place years ago? And
I believe it was to rebuild the hospital.
Rebuild the
To
hospital.
Build a new hospital. Remember at one time they was thinking about, I can just give it. And I
Okay.
believe it was started then to help keep the hospital going.
What feeds into that fund?
the lease payments we receive from the hospital on a quarterly basis.
The only thing that gives.
May I speak to that question? A little bit more detail. Originally, the hospital was managed by a for-profit company. Approximately 20 years ago, when we all agreed for LaPorte to take over the operating lease of it, that money came between those two entities as a payment for LaPorte to be able to take over the operating lease, but yet the real estate and the building still owned by Stark County government. Because there was a serious question of the length of ability to operate a hospital. This money was originally earmarked, as the title shows, to guarantee, as best a guarantee could be done, that there will be a hospital for a long time to come. In spite of the uncertainty that was first entered into that arrangement. We are now 20 years later, and our current arrangement again with LaPorte, who is owned by a for-profit company out of Tennessee, managing Stark Hospital. It seems to be working out well, and our trustees are comfortable with the near-term future enough that one of the attractions for us having some effort of movement at the current time is to be able to disperse some of this money where it's most needed for furtherance of healthcare in Stark County. Originally, as Charlie Weaver set this up with three entities, the county council, the county commissioners, and the hospital board, all requiring supermajorities to spend any of this money. It kept it from being spent for patching a lot of potholes in the road, et cetera, these years. Because of the future seeming stability, we have less need for this money to jump in and operate a hospital if the current owners were to go bankrupt. And we are looking at ways that we can more accurately, more adequately benefit the health of this county. That's where the Northern Indiana Community Foundation has come in. And through their philosophy, preserving the principle and utilizing the interest, there can be furtherance of healthcare now instead of just sitting in a low interest bearing account. The second motivating factor has been, in addition to the interest of the community foundation, their ability to invest this amount at a much greater return than what county government has been legally able to do so all these past 20 years. The stars in the sky are coming together just at this time. And that is a reason the hospital board has investigated the community foundation's proposed use of this money and is making the recommendation that we go forward like has been presented by them.
Thank you, Dr. Fritz.
Thank you.
So going forward, since there are payments that do go into this fund quarterly, are we also proposing to continue to place those funds into a potential fund held by the community foundation?
That seems like it would be a decision, like if you were gonna just provide a portion of it, then obviously I think the money would continue to just go where it's going now, and whatever portion you provide would just be that donation. So I don't think, if that was something you were interested in doing, we could definitely set that up, but it's not something that we're, saying
Okay,
that we're.
so that's not part of the proposal
No.
in front of us. Okay,
Yeah, and we don't even have a solid amount. The figures that I provided last time, that 6 million was just the number I was given. So it's not like I'm saying this is, we're doing this and that's all, but so yeah, we're definitely open to working with the county officials on whatever is most advantageous to you at this point.
I'd like to take some more time to evaluate the option that Councilmember Hines presented, the Trust Indiana option. What gives me pause is the transfer of a county asset to the community foundation entirely. I know the work you guys do and the resources you have are phenomenal, and your organization is one that should continuously be invested in. But it's that large of a public asset being transferred to a private firm, just in general, gives me pause. And the fact that, once we give it to you, we're only going to get the grant amounts back. And if some odd unforeseen circumstance comes along where, hey, we could use a multi-million-dollar fund to address an issue at the hospital, we'd have to jump through some hoops, to get that out of you if need be, outside of taking an extreme measure to maybe close the grant fund, which
That's what I said,
Wouldn't
give
be.
a portion, we'd still have a portion that would still be collected.
so
Add that back up.
this looks like a very good option.
Right.
But I want to make sure we've investigated all the options. And like I said, I find that option involving Trust Indiana to be attractive as well.
Well, and one of the things to consider, if you would decide to do a portion, you could actually see the benefits that could come from working with the community foundation.
Right, and that's why.
And there are definitely benefits, yes.
But yeah, we absolutely understand that just as county officials, you have to consider all the options, and you have a lot of constituents who have different priorities, but so something just to say that what this boils down to is, addressing community health, which I think is something that, there's a lot of different efforts being done right now that are sort of piecemeal, and this would really put a lot behind it, but, definitely recognize.
That's particular issue is why I pushed our adopt into what's coming from the state through Senate Bill 4.
And I think that that's a good example of that this is not just a local issue, like obviously there's a lot of emphasis right now on making sure that there's the right kind of like assets available to communities so that they can start making efforts towards taking responsibility for their community's health and being able to do those things at the local level with the help from federal and state money. So yeah, I think kind of like Dr. Fritz pointed out, it does feel like the stars kind of aligning for something like this to really be good for start. But yeah, thanks for the opportunity to come before you. We'll be happy to join you again in a future one. And if you have any additional questions in between now and then, feel free to reach out and I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you, ladies.
Yes, have a good day.
We have Vash Valley. Whoa. Thank Dr. Fritz. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we were a little short on some of the copies, and I have my copy that has everything, so who would like that? It's Charlie for signature. That'll be the one that they sign. So there's what's being impacted are 3 different parcels right in a row on the 500 North and Hamlet. And so they're turned sideways, so you can kind of see all the documents for each individual parcel. To drop everything. And then you're the lucky one. And on mine, I'm like, I can everything. That's right. So mine has. So parcels 3 or 4 and 5 are they're kind of funny looking out there. They're separate, but they're not really. So I kind of think them together. What they are needing is 30-foot easement for the utility they're going to build a transmission line. It's going to be taller steel poles out there. And currently there's a distribution line, and the distribution is going to be underbuilt on those same poles on the T structures.
And this is right up by the station. It's already there, right?
Yeah. It's gonna go down 500 and then go up the easement up to the highway and feed into the NIPSCO line that's out there. And then there's a 20-foot temporary easement, just so they can work. Having a room to. There's an expiration date on that too. If there's any damages during construction, because I know you have props out there, we'll pay for any damages for the prop damages. Yeah. It's in there. Yeah. It's just like every other, I know you guys have already talked about it with the building. You guys can have events and then you can have the construction if that's something you guys want to do. Driveways are good.
This isn't the area that would potentially impact where we've got leased where those blue shipping containers are.
When I drove out there, the only thing I saw that would be impacted would be the property. Yeah. There's one out there.
That I know that lease has got to be coming up.
I've never heard anything about it, but I still like to know who's using the crop field.
No, I'm not talking about fields. There is no, it doesn't exist for use of fields.
Yeah, that's what I heard too, and I heard that it was just that. But somebody's still farming it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not a me issue.
No, my concern is how much longer that That blockchain company has that
Oh, that,
lease.
yeah, I guess my turn.
I know, but isn't that coming up? Isn't that expiring soon? Okay. But this isn't. That. Area, this is on the other side.
Right next to Norton,
It's.
Yeah.
Goes from
or on the same side.
the east side of the driveway. Correct?
Actually, it's gonna go. Nah, so, yeah, it goes.
Bring up the map again.
The first number. You need a person.
Purchase.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah, so the copies that you guys, I had emailed everything and they made copies, my copies have the dollar amounts in them.
Okay.
And so, you guys can see that, and if you, like, if you guys sign it today, then I can pay you today. Yeah. Alright, let's pick that one.
Okay.
Here you go, see. I filled in each dollar amount,
Okay.
and then there's also the.
So we're talking. About,
Yeah, so there's the substation, it's gonna go straight across there. And then
so it's this side, a little bit here,
there, yeah,
and then into here,
no, towards the left, or,
towards,
yeah, that way,
Heading west.
yeah.
okay,
And then to Lloyd Taylor property right there, that other farm field, it's gonna go north there to the highway,
oh,
right there, yeah. And he said that you guys have an easement over there. But yeah, it's gonna go north there,
yeah,
that's a private owner.
yeah. And then there's. Economic development. And economic development. And Lisa, have they already talked, are you going this far or?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
we got the information from Wabash Valley, ran it by the officers and they said move forward. So Janice came and signed the paperwork for the easement for the project.
Are you Lisa?
Yes.
Oh, nice to meet
Yes.
you. I was gonna meet her tomorrow.
Yep, you're right.
She's your old thing.
So this is that. Right here,
Yeah, and that
This
comes up
section.
as two parcels. For some reason, the way it is. So that's gonna be considered. As a five. I'm not sure why it's like that with the. Company, I guess, but that's how the title came in. And so for 4 and 5, you only have one document.
let's see.
So like I said, you're making.
Okay, all right, yeah, go through the,
You want to do it on this one?
yeah, since that's the complete set.
I want to get. Wabash Valley has a lot of.
Yes.
Okay. So on mine, you mind me?
No,
Okay. Okay, so this is before. It shows the easement. Is for that property. Talks about how they're gonna build it. They can't build anything in it, it stays with the property. It doesn't, want you guys sell it or something, it stays with the property, you guys sign. That shows that is just the legal description of the easement itself. And then that's where it's showing the actual exhibit. And then here is 5. You go here to the- it shows.
That's the other side of the driveway.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, yeah, I'm not sure why it's like that.
Temporary or we'll put the pole in.
So it's gonna be temporary and permanent for each parcel. 30 foot of permanent easement that will be where the pole will be. If there's a problem in the future where there's damage or storm damage or they need to replace, then they can go out there without contacting anybody to work out there. 20 foot is just temporary, and that one expires, I think, the end of the year.
Yeah.
It was pretty, they're hoping to get like in and out, because it's not a very long section.
Yeah, this says December 31st of 24.
Okay, so a year. A little over. But
Lisa, how do you feel it's gonna affect that property out there?
Well, it's not, I mean, it's obviously not a lot of the property, so. You know, I think that it's progress in my opinion, so. You know, as much power as we can get either direction.
Right.
We need to have that infrastructure. So I don't, you know, our part is not nearly as big as the other parcels. And, you know, we've never had any real interest. Excuse me, in development in that small piece. So you know, I just kind of feel like whatever we can do to keep progress moving.
Right.
That I don't think it's gonna, you know, be detrimental to any of our property or anything like that. So I'm all for it.
And the purpose for this easement again was,
they're gonna build a transmission line, so right now there's a distribution line that runs out there. They're gonna build transmission, and transmission is what feeds the distribution. So they're putting new steel poles, which is like the modern standards. What they're doing, so it's gonna be a taller pole, it's gonna be steel, and then it'll be increasing the transmission.
I guess one of my concerns is the driveway into north, is there, I guess. The width of it, if it has to be wider one day or something, I don't know.
Driveways are fine, you can, the
Well, with the
easement,
easement or whatever, I mean, as long as they can do that, if they can go wider or something, that drive.
and that if you have an easement on your property, it doesn't, you can make a whole thing that driveway is.
the dollar amounts were.
It's probably gonna be back up. And I separated them, so it's right here. That's great.
Temporary was just $1.
Well, so, all the easement documents that you see are gonna say $1, and then they have if they have a right to do that.
Yeah,
And
on the back.
on the easement payment schedule, it's gonna show, so this is for parcel 4. Easement payment is gonna be $3,015. For temporary, it's $500 for each temporary one.
Yep.
And $35.50. And then for parcel 5, $7,200. And then temporary is $500, so $7,700. Then for parcel 6. And they base it on the way it's coded in the tax system, and then we. The permanent is $39.30, $500 for the temporary, so $44.30.
Are you guys happy with those dollar amounts?
I mean, I heard a little bit.
I'm sorry, you want to show you?
No, yeah, let me look at it.
Take it down, let them see.
I will say it's nice that Wabash Valley does pay for their.
Yes.
instance,
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice.
Yeah, because this sounds like it's in line with what we did
So this is the first.
And the
in the,
industrial park.
over by the industrial park.
Permanent easement is for $3,000.
That was, remember what that
Each
dollar
of the
amount was?
temporary is $500, so for this.
And that
it's
was-
$35.50. And the recent one that you're. And then for parcel 5, it's permanent easement is $7,200. I see. $500. Nobody's going back for all that. And then $77. What?
Yeah.
And then.
It's the size is pretty much.
For the permanent. I would have tried to please.
How wide do you need?
20 foot for the temporary, 30 foot for the permanent. And then the
Temporary will-
expires next December. Not this December. They gotta get, I'm hoping to have it done before that, but then. just in
Right.
case,
We're looking for, maybe a total of, actual area, square
Oh,
footage.
so you'll see that on the exhibits here.
Right, these
Oh,
are-
here it is, I'm sorry. So that one shows their permanent or temporary.
there it is. You see them? Yeah.
So the way you guys are quoted is 15,000 per acre.
Which sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right. It sounds good. Done? Okay.
Totally that. Put them together.
Good.
So are you the signer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a notary? Okay, do you want to notarize for them or if they need to see your
Yes.
Yeah.
Do either or whatever. Yes, she'll know.
You stayed after, so I can collect the name of your receipt.
Yeah, that's okay, yeah.
All right.
Was there a motion to? The easement,
So moved.
all in favor? Aye. However.
Everything that needs a signature.
Sign and.
Record, this is driver's license and social security number, what's it?
I'll give it out. I don't think so.
I didn't. That way.
So then I'll have her sign that here, and then this is where Wabash Valley will sign. There's different where we have to send it to them. That, and then they send it to get recorded. That was for the permit. This is for the temporary.
One of these leave all of you green turn.
I'll just sign.
And this is the purchase agreement. So on this one, since this parcel is funny, they have separate documents there, against the purchase agreement is combined. So at $10,250 is the, for the permit, that's the $1,000. One year. And then it goes in order. But then it kind of,
What's that?
everything else goes on.
Right.
So I wouldn't use the clicker. If you please.
I think they do a good job.
They're excited about it.
And this shows the ports and the port.
Was it grass?
Oh.
So this is their easement over space.
So that's been tested frequently this year.
Yeah, that's good.
Gonna be really hard to do.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? All right.
For, see if I just. Sweet talk, mayor.
I'll let you know.
Okay, and then this is gonna be the thing. But it was- it's scheduled 39 there. Then how do we do it? Thank you very much. Then I'll just sit over there and, actually, I'll take the upstairs, I'll go and get it, my girl started on you, and I'll run back down here. I get really.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys, have a great day.
Yes, we'll skip the next one and then.
Remember, she's not.
Yeah, well, we,
We've heard from others pertaining to that, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Then we have Lisa.
You want first? Doesn't matter, Roy, if you want to come up.
Yeah,
real quick.
come on up.
Well, if you have. Soon. We'll just, yeah.
no, how are you guys doing today?
So, just here to introduce Roy Anderson. We did have a meeting in our office. He met a few of the folks from the county government, health department and such. He has property in the rural opportunity zone over near Grovertown, south of 23. And he's got some pretty good big plans for the property. So he just wanted to share for a minute.
Yeah, the first thing we'd like to do is get the property rezoned so we can set up a small research and development, product development distillery there. Once that is done and we've got all of our licensing and everything else taken care of, next year we'd like to put $5.1 million into the expansion, and then over the next few years, we'd like to expand it out with $151 million investment. Getting going. Over on 1025 East.
Just south of 300.
Yeah,
So distillery, and
yeah, eventually a restaurant, then we'll set up like tours and all that kind of stuff. Just so you know, it would be like myself, Jim Beam from the Jim Beam Distilling Company. He's my partner and my mentor. I am the oldest whiskey family in the United States, the last of my line. Well, now my son is, but we'll see how that goes. We have Chris George from the Chicago Bears, Lee Beckham from the Green Bay Packers. We have Tamar Cody from the Raiders. They are all partners and they will all be involved in this. Lee was going to be here this morning. He couldn't make it. He will actually be here for the 4:30 reading that we have this afternoon.
yeah, well, I'm excited. I mean, I talked to Roy probably 4 years ago.
Yeah.
We were driving
that's
around
why I
Stark
started this.
County and seeing, he was actually.
Progress is slow.
Well, and that's okay, it's economic development, and it is, but something very cool that we could see in our county. It's, as you mentioned, it's on the Bourbon Trail, the Northern Bourbon Trail.
There's nothing between Toledo and Chicago. And there should be, and we have a rich distilling history here. It got wiped out in Prohibition, and then in Indiana, Prohibition didn't actually end for distillers until 2013.
Yeah,
So Kentucky's having a lot of problems right now because they've got too many distilleries of massive size. So, to alleviate that, we would rather put a large distillery here. We're close to the grains. The spent grains can be used. It's a zero waste production. This makes sense to be here.
Okay.
That I'm originally from here.
Yeah,
And in the initial meeting, is the Bose was there as well. I encouraged them to try and make sure we've got as few roadblocks as possible for him, because he's already got enough that he's got to deal with barriers to entry as far as how, the state regulates his type of business. So hopefully if
It's easier to open a bank.
So
Really is.
whatever we can do locally to kind of help Roy out to get things moving, to break down some barriers with
Currently,
zoning or whatever.
The majority of our production is done in Orlando, Florida right now. I closed down all of our other distilleries, moved most of the production there. Until we can get things built and set up here and then move everything here.
I saw a thing. It's a couple of years old now, but you were featured by one of the South Bend stations a while back.
I've been on a bunch, yes.
Yeah. What's going on with that brand that was featured?
I actually sold that company for $6 million in a stock option deal with Nextlights Holding Company.
Okay.
Since then, I've repurchased all of the brands back and brought them back into the new company to relaunch along with our current brands.
Okay.
So altogether, we have about 27 different brands.
When are you hoping to start building?
3 weeks ago.
Really?
The sooner the better.
Right.
I mean, we at least want to get a small, maybe 600 square foot to 800 square foot, just as very small, just enough to get the still in and get the licensing taken care of.
Right.
Once the license is taken care of, and with us being in the rural economic development zone, then we can use, capital gains taxes from some of our larger donors and stuff to invest into the business instead of giving it to the government to grow.
Yeah, so Roy will be coming back for the council meeting at 4:30. I'll have to be back then. You might be able to get some photos. I'm wearing my
Most definitely.
Notre Dame jersey and bringing my Sharpie.
Well, then we want to do the documentary and everything else. I'm on the board of directors for Santa Clara International Film Festival. And the Metal Hall of Fame and the National Boxing Hall of Fame.
And Roy's got connections, so his hotel guy will be getting with me
Yeah, I'll be
shortly.
talking to him, Hardy Patel a little bit later. He has a massive chain of hotels.
And I also, regarding hotels, have reached out to about 107 people to say, can you provide us some support letters? Those are starting to come in. I think between, what Roy's got going on, and everything else that we have going on here in Stark County, kind of lulls. But, I'm trying to keep this hotel thing going because it's very important. And I don't think anything's ever going to happen with the current hotel owner. And I've had investors here to try and buy him. He won't budge on anything. So, we move on and move up, and I think we'll be fine.
My priorities, at least with regards to your organization, are that hotel and broadband.
Yes. Oh, and that's the second piece
That's
of money.
the second piece
That's the second piece of
Though I
money.
never necessarily. I use a lot of internet.
Yeah.
So,
My biggest problem right now is the state of Indiana leaves it up to the county for the zoning.
Mhm.
And I cannot find anywhere, none of what the zoning for distillery would be in Stark County. In other places, it can be commercial, it can be light industrial, I don't know.
I don't know if it's a use that's interested at all.
So I
Yeah.
don't know how to apply.
Because-
these zones to it.
Right, don't we have a gentleman trying to write out one in? Oh,
Maybe. But how different is a distiller from the brewers that we've got?
that's what I was thinking.
None.
There's no difference. So that could go.
You gentlemen are wanting to see this move forward, and we can work with the planning commission to make whatever amendments, to the comprehensive plan that we need to in order to, get the thing moving forward, because heck, I don't know, hear a detracting voice, anywhere in the county or something like this. So like I said, if this is something you want to see move forward, let me look at your comprehensive plan. Let me see in terms of an amendment will have to happen in order to change your permitted special use or exceptions, and I'll put something together. You can send it to the planning commission and start that process. If
Nobody don't like.
Yeah.
Absolutely, maybe I can work with you to see what you want in that zoning, you know, how you want it to read, so it's.
Yeah, absolutely. I would actually hook you up with like my legal counsel and stuff,
Yes.
which is Chris George from the Chicago Bears.
Oh. You'll be happy to talk with someone probably much more knowledgeable than myself.
All right, but I just want to bring Roy along to introduce himself, give a,
Nice to meet you.
synopsis. of
Well, it's wonderful to meet you, although you've probably been here in this county a long time. So you probably already know my family. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roy. We'll see you this afternoon.
Yes, you go.
And then Scott Franco is here from Surf Internet.
A taste tester later on. When people just.
I'm gonna need math and amounts of internet, so we can talk.
Now for broadband.
Yes.
This go away. Here, everybody.
So everyone, this is Scott Franco from Surf Internet. As you guys know, the infrastructure is now coming through the city of Knox. Scott and Gene Cruz have met with North Judson, and it sounds like that will be moving along.
North Judson, yep. Applied to the different levels of grants, there's next level of grant money, kind of have our,
Round
laid out.
four is started.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get out ahead of all of that.
Good.
Yeah. And then Coots Lake, of course, is, it's not in a municipality, so we're here because, Coots Lake is like your next one.
Yeah, as we expand out in the area of Stark County, Coos Lake is on the, we'd like to go there. And I don't know if anyone had a chance to see any of this before.
Not ahead of time.
You don't really need to go through this whole thing, but I went ahead and printed copies of this. This is a presentation, usually when we get around a table in a municipality or somewhere where we get, the folks around the table to have the dialogue about permitting, whether it's permitting or, to start to work through. Basically, it's what we use to get in alignment with somewhere so that we're working together, knowing where you're gonna be, where you need things, where we can put an OLT, which is where the box would be located somewhere in the right of way. The preference of utility right of ways or easement, those places for, burial versus aerial. In this case, we are planning to do burial construction like we've been doing most of the time. And then we just touch on things like, when we do a project, we like to make sure we're communicating very transparently and very thoroughly to all the residents involved in an area when we go to do construction. So we want them to be aware of what the construction is going to look like, what it is, what we're doing, where you go if you want to know more, where you go if you have a complaint. We want to mitigate those kind of calls coming to anybody else. As much as possible, keep that on us. So when we go to an area and start construction, we put some temporary signs up so people know. We want to make sure there's no ordinances to be mindful of. We don't like the political, they're about the size of like yard sign, political signs. Some people don't want them, some don't want them in right of ways. Some no problem as long as they're temporary, which they would be. So we kind of work through all that. These kinds of questions when we get in front of everyone for a meeting like this. And then after that meeting, if we're all in agreement, our next steps would be like what we call a walkout. We kind of have a high level plan. Those maps you're seeing in here, I call them blobs because they're not really as detailed as you want to see, like in a KMZ file or something like that. But take this high level plan into a low level plan. That's when our engineering does a walkout and we put all the detail to that. We'll make sure that you all or whoever needs to see that has a chance to see it before construction starts. But we're here because we'd like to, winter's coming, we'd like to get out ahead of all that and start soon.
And one of the things, because way back when I was part of the broadband planning grant, after that plan was worked on, the county approved the plan. We became a broadband ready community, which is fantastic. All of the counties are not yet in the state, but basically because of that, it should help a surf internet be able to come in, get their permitting expedited, hopefully very reasonable or free of charge based on that broadband ready. So I guess my thing is I want, they're ready to start moving on this. So I want to just ask the county to do whatever you can do to kind of help make things move along. Quickly and efficiently so that they can try and get a project going before the snow flies in Coons Lake. But right now, like I said, Knox, North Judson, Coons Lake area, we will also at some point. I don't know if anybody saw Dave Pierman's note on Facebook about how he just is so done with one of our internet providers. He has terrible internet. And one of the things I want to see once some of these more concentrated areas with lots more homes are taken care of, that we figure out a way to move out into the more rural areas
Yeah,
and take
I'd
care
actually
of.
like to see those done first, because we know, you know, the denser areas are gonna get done. And all too often, those do get done, and then, like, I'll take, for instance, you know, the area between, say, this and the OD school would still never get done. You know, because
Well.
and
because there is
the
no-
entirety needs to get done. That's part of what the next level of connections is supposed to be addressing.
Mhm.
You know, it's the areas like
Right,
west of North Judson,
right, and because.
down in Red Brush where I am.
Yes.
You know, those
And because.
Those are
there's a
even-
lot of people
even worse than these
concentrated
are
there.
currently, you know, and that's just gonna create even more of a divide in quality of service as far as internet goes between the areas that are populated and the outlying areas that are already suffering.
Sure, and there are grant funds out there for some of our folks out in where there is not a lot of population. Where actual homeowners can apply for about $4,800 to bring fiber to your.
It's the ICP program with the state of Indiana, so we get very involved with trying to make sure residents understand that and kind of help create demand in those types of places. We've been fortunate enough to work on some projects where, like an example would be, I think it was in Elkhart County, we took about 28 residents in a certain area that were broadband starved, and they were involved in that program. So the state becomes aware that you're at an address where you're inadequate with broadband. And they can attach or basically attach to your address an allocation of $4,800 to help make that happen per address. We got about 28 of those, plus we put our own investment to that. All of a sudden, by creating demand using the supplement program from the state, we're able to go connect 28 more. But to even do that, you have to have pockets like this where you have your backbone there. So it starts to make sense to broaden out from there. So success kind of builds upon itself, what we're finding. The meeting I just came from with Newton County, were little pockets and little by little, they're served. And now we're working on a collaborative project with their economic development stuff. And we're basically finding a way to enhance one larger big push to get about 97% of the whole county covered. It's going to happen in the next 18 months. That's what that meeting was I just came from.
He's already to get here.
There was a special vote to make that happen. We've been working on this for a little while. So who knows where it can go, but for right now, just to keep momentum going for us. Yeah, we have other places, as soon as it's appropriate, I can assure you with kind of an area looking at where we're associating BEAD funding, if we were to get that, and how it affects around this area.
Perfect, that would be great information, but as far as keeping progress moving, I think, you know, is whatever you guys can do to kind of make it an easier process for them to move forward, and Coons Lake would be really great, because like you said, the more backbone we have out there, the easier it's going to be to bring it out into the more rural areas.
So for the residential customers, what speeds and price points are we targeting?
That question always comes up because you hate to turn a meeting into a commercial like these are. This is actually, the more I look at this is something that was left over from in Illinois. We're just a little background on us. We've been doing this for 20 years. Some folks might not even know who we are, even though we're building within Knox. We've been doing broadband for 20 years, working. We're one of the top providers of schools in the state of Indiana and Illinois.
Did you buy up the CSI folks on the port?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know Pat Whelan and
Yes,
people.
used to work for him.
Yep. Okay. So you know that you sound pretty knowledgeable about all this. So yeah, Pat's a great guy. he's with us, he's been with Gene a long time, I've known Gene, our founder,
Mhm.
for 20 years. We just acquired MI Signal up in Michigan, that's around the Howell area.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like our footprint in those 3 states. But on average, what residents will experience is an option, not obligation, an option to work with us. And we offer speeds of 100, 500 and a gig, or multi-gig, like in LaPorte, we're multi-gig, we're 2 gig right there. But I think for right now, we're planning on gig speeds here. And for those folks that might be able to take advantage of the ACP program, if they can prove some financial, for the ability to qualify for that, then I think they're qualified for like $30 for the broadband. So we have a $35 package that basically gets them into enough adequate speed, for $5.
And the folks that don't qualify.
Still 35.
$35.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a $35 plan, $55 plan, 70 and an 85.
Okay.
Yeah, with us, maybe you're aware of it, the way we've been operating. There's no connectivity fee. There's no fees and taxes on your bill. There's no contract, and it's a price lock for life. With
So
that
you
plan.
still got the structure from back when it was just terrestrial wireless.
We just believe in making it easy. You either want to work with us or you don't. So we want people to just make it simple.
And I think I've had Brightstar or Brightspeed, and now I have this line of sight. And if I can't reach the tower, the water tower where they're, then I have no internet again. And I feel like I could get this $35 package and still be way better off than I have been in the past. So.
I need to drill the question.
Well, you come through Knox and stuff, so are you cabling all the way to Coon Lake, or how does that work? Do you put?
I honestly don't know the answer to that with our engineering. I should, but I don't know the detail.
Are you guys partnering with RMC that's building out the loops between their
There
subdivisions?
could be, because we're doing a little bit of that in a lot of places. So our AMCs have like the Accord group. And there's only like 2 private companies in Accord. We're one of them. So we do talk quite a bit. I know we're gonna be collaborating in Newton County for some of the areas, because the goal was to get 100% covered, not 97% coverage. So to do that, there's some areas where we're talking and see what makes sense. How basically we'll cooperate. You provide this, you do that. We use your poles. We have to do some aerial. We can make it happen.
And KVREMC, and I don't know if you noticed, they've been out in Industrial Park lately, across the street from traffic control. REMC is doing their substation that they needed their easement for last year. The fiber loops will be part of that substation. So actually the SERP project that just started on the south end of Knox hooked into REMC for that. So yeah, to my knowledge, they'll be using REMC all the way.
I was just saying, if you got a cable all the way, if you don't have a station over there, however you gotta do this. If you got a cable, it won't hurt to go through them. It's on the way to Coon, you know what I'm saying?
That might be on our list. All I know is I was told, hey.
Right, I just think that would help a few more residents.
Yeah, and-
I mean, I ought to get you in this conversation, like a broader list of like.
That's
what
what,
we're
yeah.
thinking about and talking about.
I've got an executive meeting with the General Town Council
Mhm.
next week on Wednesday. And if that's something SERP is interested in pulling it straight on through,
Right,
it's on the way to Coon Lake.
right.
Yeah,
I think it is. Let me just look real quick. I think I had on my calendar in a certain area to go make an introduction. But, yeah, what other questions? I get this introduction is what we want to do. Eventually getting to the table with the right people that helps work through that permit utility locate process. That's a good time to like get all those questions on the table.
I think, well, that'll be through the planning commission, so.
What else are you needing from us?
Well, I think you should attend the plan commission
Yeah.
meeting, but so I don't know what the permitting process is at the county.
I think that's one of the things I'm exploring. That's how I reached out, like what's the permit process, who to start talking to, how do we get people, especially these unincorporated type areas.
So. planning commission.
Bose and Mary up there in the office.
I'll introduce you to those in there.
I'm pretty sure we set up our permit as free for broadband.
I thought so.
yeah, that was part of the broadband ready stuff.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We'll be back for the 4:30 meeting. Because we love meetings. Right, if you, I mean, if you guys care this afternoon for that, if you have any questions or anytime, just email me, I can get you to Scott. And we can, keep the momentum going with running. So,
Yeah, I'll get with you on that. So I think that's, I do what I'm talking about.
okay, that'd be fantastic. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
One page, where is it?
Oh, no.
So sorry, did that, you might,
No, that's,
I appreciate it. I was going through it. Oh my goodness.
well, good thing you called.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's all right. Is there a motion to approve the vendor claims in the amount of $354,618.71?
So we
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
For a motion to approve the payroll claims in the amount of $295,134.21.
So moved.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye. What's so funny?
Is there a motion to approve the minutes from Friday, August 31st, 2023 and Tuesday, September 5th, 2023?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We have the amended travel policy.
Well, I can make a motion, we accept it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. You got all the changes you wanted?
And then the employee appreciation event.
So, I'd like to have an employee appreciation event like we do every year, December 8th from 1 to 4. At the Knox VFW. We are getting the VFW for free this year. We paid for it last year. Also, I was wondering if you would be willing to close the county buildings. December 8th. 1 to 4.
As long as we got a notice, we should be okay, right?
What?
There was a notice of something.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and I like have it the same as all the other years, you know, employees who. Go to the event can go to the event, but if they're not going to the event, they have to stay and work.
There you go.
Or use vacation time,
Yeah.
or, you know, whatever.
Was there a motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's gonna be my next.
Then the. This lady's started already.
Yeah, she's been, she's gonna have to start opening the meeting.
Okay. So is there a motion
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Patches.
Yeah, a lot of counties
have badges already and those who don't have badges are going to badges. So I'm just bringing up, do you guys want me to look into name badges for county employees? Normally,
We had a machine that would print those once upon a time.
well, most counties use their EMA person to do the employee badges. So.
Yeah, that's where that's the last person I saw mess with that machine was Jake and EMA.
Do you want me to, so I'm asking if you want your county employees to have name badges, I'll look into it. If not, it's fine too, whatever you guys want.
Okay, either way, you feel there's a need for it?
I think maybe 10 years ago, no, 5 years ago, no. I think yes, now it's in how we are in our society today. Because we don't.
Yeah,
Like the machine out or figure out whatever the machine is.
if possible, tie a badge system to the existing entry key system. Because I've seen it. In fact, it's been around for at least 20 years. Because in 1998, I had a badge. It was thinner than this, but I still used it to swipe into the building where I was working. And it had printed on, a nice little pretty picture in my name. Yeah,
I know the sheriff's department has a name, they have a system too, but I don't want them having to make.
no, I'd like, yeah, we,
Do ours.
yeah, we need to do some consolidation on those types of systems, those physical security. The GPS tracking of the different departments' fleets. Consolidating into a single motor pool type controlled fleet. Maybe where we can. And then,
As long as we do it, they're required to wear it.
yeah.
Anything else, Don? Mark?
Nope.
Rachel? Anyone else have any business for us?
Yes, just a question, is there any plans for the review of the solar ordinances, anything?
I haven't heard from the planning commission when they wanna sit down with us.
And
Kind of
we were gonna do some sort of joint
yeah,
something at some point.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, we haven't heard nothing from the planning commission on that yet.
Okay.
That's hopefully gonna be within a week or two yet here, but
Yeah, because I think that was all brought up last month.
yeah. No further business, motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Second.